So I want you to close your eyes for a second, and I want you to imagine a double cut guitar with 3 single coils. Now add a 6-point tremolo, a 5-way switch, and 3 knobs, and also it has a 25.5-inch scale length. Now I'd be willing to bet money that you are all now thinking of a Fender Stratocaster. Of course you are, it just makes sense. Now open your eyes. This is the brand new Baum Guitar Celestor. And yes, obviously, it shares a lot of DNA with a Fender Stratocaster and takes heavy inspiration from a Fender Stratocaster. Baum have done something here that I think separates the Celestor from quite a lot of other S-types. I know comparing to my PRS Silver Sky, for example, or even my Music Man Cutlass, this is still a little bit further removed. We're going to explore that today, and by the end of the video, maybe you'll agree that this is a really interesting S-type, and I think Baum have hit the nail on the head. I feel like I don't need to introduce Baum too much anymore, but they're a really cool guitar brand from Denmark that have their roots in amazing guitar lutherie, Danish design cues, and also just the best of the best boutique custom shop stuff. Now they have a great range of guitars to meet lots of different price points. The Celestor, for example, fits into their original series. And I guess Baum are a company that it kind of just makes sense that they make an S-type. They should have always have made an S-type, but they're also a company who would never have just made a straight copy of a Strat. They've made some really interesting choices with the Celestor along the way that I think make it really exciting, really new, but also still familiar. In terms of specs, there are a lot of things here that we would expect from an S-type. All of those things I mentioned at the start of the video are true with Celestor, but there are 3 kind of groups of things that I've come across that really separate it. Number 1, the wood choices. 2, the pickups actually, and 3, some of the other design choices throughout. First up, let's start with the wood, and usually with a guitar like this we'd expect the bodywood to be made out of alder or even ash, but Baum have gone with mahogany for the body, a wood that is usually used for guitars like Les Pauls, PRSs, and a lot of other Baum's guitars. Playing this thing acoustically, which I always do first, I was really struck with how bright this guitar is, just ringing out. Yes, it is resonant still, but there is a tightness and a focus and a control, even in the acoustic sound, that is a lot different. And that tightness does carry over to the plugged in sound, where we get a much tighter, more focused sound that I think. The neck itself has a modern C profile, which is Baum's most popular, and I think it's their most popular for a reason. It's incredibly comfortable, with a pretty flat 12-inch radius, a roasted maple, which instantly makes this guitar feel more modern, and a proper rosewood fretboard. On to the pickups, and as I said, the theme of that focus and tightness carries over to these. They are Baum's own Gold Sound Verve single coils made specifically for this guitar. They're on Alnico 5 single coils that are crisp and clear and still dynamic. They work together with the mahogany body to give a sound that is undoubtedly Strat-y or Strat-esque, but feels more present than a vintage Strat, for example. I think this lends itself to playing more rock and maybe with a bit more gain, or even some like really tight funky playing. The bridge pickup also feels a little hotter, and it does have a brass base plate for a bit of extra punch to emphasize that. Interestingly enough as well, we have a kind of standard 5-way switch. However, in the middle position, it wires the bridge and neck together, just like a Telecaster. And that is a really great sound. The pickups sound great, and as I said, they complement the wood choices really nicely, but just as importantly, they look killer. I mean, that is just as important, let's not lie. They almost have this gold foil appearance. I love them. Finally, we got to talk about the design choices, and this thing is instantly familiar but also unique and has Baum's identity all over it. And the choices and contours they've made to the Celestor's body really elevate the classic design. I especially love this arm contour here that we see across a few of other Baum's guitars, and it has such a great identity, but also is actually just comfortable and more ergonomic. The pickguard shape is killer. I love the gold as well. I think it looks great. And I also think this headstock design is also a massive improvement. Not only are these Baum's own pickups, but a lot of the hardware is in-house as well. For example, this tremolo is Baum's True Tone tremolo, a 6-point tremolo that is super smooth and feels great. It also has a big brass block in the back, which I personally find quite reassuring. And then the tuners as well are Baum's Precision tuners, which are super smooth and stable, and also have brass posts. A really tasteful palette of colours to choose from. Whichever one you go for, they all look sick, so you can't go wrong. there is anything about the Baum Celestor that isn't cool or well thought out. I guess it's just up to you guys if you like the changes that they've made, and if that more focused, tighter sound suits your playing style. The Fender Strat is arguably the most famous and the most played guitar ever. So there kind of has to be a reason that you might not own one. Maybe you just don't like something about it, and I think the Celestor changes enough that it might suit those people who don't already have Strats. But if you do already play Strats, then this offers something different again that it would fit in your arsenal. I think this is a really clever move from Baum, and it's a great guitar.